1. I'm a 21-year-old female. This might be more a bit of a rant or event, but I would like some opinions that are unbiased. I worked at Domino's for about a year. Always tried to show up on time, always made it to shifts. I genuinely loved this job and I worked full time. Then, they became very understaffed. And as they were becoming super understaffed, we also hit a really slow period, where I was hardly making any money at all. At the same time, my car began to have a ton of issues and I had 2 shifts in a row where my car just broke down and wouldn't start. Because we were slow, I wasn't making enough to keep up with repairs on my car. While I was dealing with all this, they were going through a change in GMs. They promoted a manager I had worked with for a short while before she moved to another store. And nobody enjoyed working with her because she was known for being pretty petty. Granted, I did give short notice before I left. However, that was due to me being afraid I was going to lose my car. I also felt it was better to quit because I was having so many issues. I more often than not ended up calling out. And I felt bad about that. But most of my co-workers were understanding. I needed it for school and I had no family support to help if I lose it. I explained this to her before leaving and asked her to take me off the schedule, and she said she understood. But she was also asking me if I could rent a car or have a family member lend me a car, and I very clearly told her I had no options because my family isn't that generous, and I couldn't afford to rent a car at the time. Anyway, I got another job doing security over the summer and was able to fix my car because I was making more money. I started school again this semester though, gave 2 weeks notice because it was overnight and it was burning me out pretty fast. I'll be fine without a job for a little while because of FAFSA money, but I figured I could try again at Domino's just on the weekends for some extra cash. I only ended up asking because I ordered a pizza from there and saw my old co-workers who were excited to see me. I mentioned I was thinking about coming back and they told me when the manager would be in so I could stop by after class and ask. But they were excited about me possibly coming back. Well, I went in today to ask and she told me no because we need someone more reliable and with more availability. We are currently fully staffed with 16 drivers, so we're able to be more selective. However, you can ask one of the other stores. I don't really know what I was expecting, but it wasn't that. When they were understaffed, I was always one of the employees who ended up picking the slack. They wanted me to work more, but also had employees who only come in once every 2 weeks. But now they have 16 employees, so they need people with more open availability. Yeah, I know for a fact they've got other employees who only work like 1 day a week. I was only asking for like 3 days a week because that's what my school schedule allows. It really felt like she was bitter about the way I left and just didn't like me. I know she told me no, and no is final, but that explanation doesn't feel honest, and I won't even lie, it did hurt my feelings enough that I started crying when I got back to my car. Do I feel pathetic for crying? Yes. And I just know she immediately turned around and started talking about me to my former co-workers, because that is how she always was. It even seemed like she enjoyed telling me no. I don't even know if I want to ask one of the other stores, but I'm going to try Papa John's or Pizza Hut next, I guess. I don't know. Is it in my head, though? I can't really say I understand her reasoning at all. To me it sounded like, I didn't like you before, I still don't like you now, so I'm not going to hire you. And now I'm incredibly embarrassed for even trying. 2. Driver at one of the big 3 here, Pizza Hut. Let me first start off by saying a few things. I'm so glad that this isn't my main job anymore, since I both have another job and my own business on the side, because this job is on thin ice with me right now. I've been working at this same Pizza Hut since mid-2018. Fast forward to about 5 or 6 months ago. Entirely different store management kicked in, and I remember exactly how it started. Since I've been working there, this store had the same manager, Christina, and everyone loved her. It all started when they hired a certain shift manager, Amy. There's been some bull happening before Amy came into the picture, but the level of bull really picked up after she continued working here, such as making things hard for both us and even the customers. Basically, a combination of bull led to a shocking move that no one saw coming. Christina, after years of working here as a store manager, called it quits. I came in one day and someone said that Christina quit. To which I then laughed and said, "Stop lying," but it was the truth. This caused most of the other workers to quit. I walked into my shift on a Friday night, and it was just me as the driver, Amy, and a cook. Maybe a CSR, I don't recall, but it was extremely low staff. Then the area coach stepped in and hired a bunch of new staff and brought in a new store manager, Houston. And then Houston hired a shift manager, Shauna, who is equally getting on my nerves. Out of like 15 staff members, only like 3 people, including myself, are the real OGs of this Pizza Hut location. Houston is likable. However, he's been rubbing most people the wrong way ever since he started and still is. It's been truckloads of changes that both everyone is not used to, and it makes it harder for everyone. Especially me because, well, let me lay it out for you. Way less hours. Basically, my hours have been cut down dramatically because of labor from the new staff, but I'm like, so what? I've been loyally working here for way longer than literally most people here now. Take away some of their hours and don't touch mine. Prep is only for drivers. This might be slightly different now. The other driver says this too. But whatever I'm prepping is obviously not that important, as you say it is if I get back from a handful of deliveries and it's still not done. It's not hard to train others to do it. New rule was added where you must always find something to do, even if it's dead. I understand that rule in most situations. However, it basically only applies for non-managers, because I constantly see certain managers, aka Shauna, sitting down on her phone, but whenever I do it, it's wrong. Hello? I could easily extend this talking point more, but I'll stop it there. The list definitely goes on. Those are just some of the annoyances, but for me, here's the main one. Notifications and communication. Communication is key, and the lack of communication is the killer in everything. There has been at least 3 instances where I came into work only to see that they won't let me clock in because they failed to communicate that I won't be on the schedule that day, which was a day that I'm used to working for years. Houston now posts the next week's schedule in advance at the top of the wall, but my thing here is, you couldn't at least ask me before you take me off a certain day? Or at least ask before you put me on a day that I'm not used to working? Keep in mind of the other things I got going on too. With the previous management, with Christina, she would at least text you or communicate with you well before putting you on or off a schedule to see if you're okay with it. But with this guy, ugh. The schedule is made and done, basically. It's up to you to look at it and tell him to change something, but even I find that to be difficult with him sometimes. He says that he can't give me more days, but here's why that's bull. I got a write-up. This is only my 2nd write-up since working here. Why was I written up? Well, he said that he couldn't give me more days, for example, Tuesdays. I was used to working Tuesday nights before Houston was hired, but then got randomly taken off that day. Then I got used to not working Tuesdays due to labor. However, this past Tuesday I was apparently back on the schedule and I had no idea. So I got written up because I missed work this past Tuesday, and I had no idea I was supposed to even work because, you know, he doesn't believe in communication, basically. So you obviously could have given me more hours. I didn't even find out that I was written up by Shauna until I texted Houston today. Here's where things popped off. I texted Houston today about something else, and that's when he told me I was written up because I missed Tuesday, which I had no idea, so I was all types of confused. The write-up is waiting for me in the office on Friday when I come in. Then I try to finally make things better and make a suggestion. I asked, can we at least communicate with everyone about schedule changes, especially if they're random? Because, you know, that's how the previous management did it, to make things actually easier. From that point on, he was pissed and got super defensive since he doesn't care what the previous management did. Apparently, this new management doesn't care about communication. He said, "Stop talking about Christina, this is my store now." When all I was trying to do was make a suggestion, he said, "If you keep talking about this, you'll get another write-up." And that I'm frustrating him. That is when I really laughed, because I'm like, congratulations. You've been frustrating other people here, and especially me, ever since you've been working here. So how does it feel? I was about to keep going to test him to see if I would actually get another write-up just for trying to make the store better. He's just lucky I was in a good mood, because when I tell you that he was defensive, I'll see if I sign that write-up on Friday. 3. So I got this delivery. Pretty much normal, about 10 p.m. Delivery instructions say to look for a white picket fence. Don't see any, but there's a rectangular wooden fence at the end point. Idiot customers. To set up this road, it's a very small artery in a subdivision. 2 driveways in front of a single house, woods everywhere, and then another driveway that leads into the woods and 2 other houses. All of this on the left side of the road at a dead end with no streetlights. GPS takes me to the 2 houses set in the back. As I pull up, I notice one house has all the lights on and a woman out front waving at me. "Cool, thanks for making it easy, lady." She meets me at my car and the conversation goes something like, "That'll be $82.50. "My husband was supposed to pay for it with a card." "Oh, nope, sorry, it's not paid for. We can call the store and you can pay over the phone if you'd like." "I don't have a card." Awkwardness intensifies. She walks away and I apologize for basically taunting her with the pizza in my hands that she can't pay for. Feels bad, man. But wait, there's more. I get back to the store, and I'm told that I went to the wrong place. The guy doesn't even have a wife. That wasn't the right house. The house I was supposed to be at was behind the first house I saw. Turns out this lady has been stealing this guy's deliveries for a while, which is why he switched to cash orders. I drove back and finally find the white picket fence, which is set like 20 feet back from the road. Idiot drivers. And meet this dude who tells me all of this. The audacity of some people is crazy, man. Also, how the fuck was she so ready for me to get there? Does she just sit by the window waiting for strange cars to drive by so she can grift them for free food? Who has that kind of time? And her acting skills were amazing. At no point did I think something was wrong with her story. I just thought her husband was a dick. Does she even have a husband? 4. So I'm not a great storyteller, and this happened literally last night. So this is largely a string of consciousness. I'm not sure about a lot of stuff, and I'm still processing it. But hey, at least I'm in the club for having a crazy fucking story delivering pizza. Anyway, I got a delivery for a place about a mile northwest of the pizza place I work. I head over there and see a guy standing outside of the building I am delivering to. He's wearing a spotted mask, so I figure, okay, this must be the guy. His place must be behind another house, and it's awkward to get there, so he probably figured to meet me outside. I exit my car and ask the guy how he's doing, his name, and that I needed a signature. I notice at this point, he's clearly drunk, having a hard time comprehending what I'm saying and balancing. He was saying gibberish that sounded like, "I'll already say it. She's fat. Getting closer, I realize his mask is lopsided, and rather than spotted, it was covered in blood. He's bleeding from his nose and a busted lip. At this point, I figure it's an orange flag leaning towards red. I figure he's not doing great, but that isn't necessarily a sign that he's in danger. I figure he's drunk, and ate shit outside of his apartment and busted his lip. He even said fairly coherently, "I bust my lip." Sucks, but not the end of the world. Over time, he's stumbling more and more and having a harder and harder time standing. He's having a really hard time comprehending what I'm saying, and has only brief moments of sapience, saying nonsense like "ship fate" and bus fall over. So I figure, okay, he's severely concussed. I need to call 911. I tell him to lean on something, and he gives me a big hug, says, "I love you." Normally I'd be like, fuck off, dude. But I just think to myself, gross, but not important right now. He's clearly injured, and his health is more important than my comfort right now. As an aside, he's a great hugger, and by some miracle of God or Satan, I didn't get any of his blood on me. But somehow it got on the receipt and pizza box. In retrospect, this must have been a weird sight to behold. A pizza guy refusing to give a guy a pizza, and now these two fat guys are hugging. He then gets a picture and instead grabs my hands with his huge hands to try and keep balance using mine. His hands are covered in grime and grossness, and are freezing. I think I got the whole idea on what happened at this point. It was wet outside, and he'd probably tripped while walking out. He had probably tried to break the fall and landed in the soft soil while his head probably hit the sidewalk. He gets spooked by the idea of 911 coming, saying, "You're gonna get me. You're gonna kill me." And he tries to bring me into his apartment and close the door behind us. I say no, but I am willing to stand in the threshold to make sure he doesn't hurt himself. He's freaking out, and eventually the EMTs come and help him out, asking me a few questions about what he knows and such, and they tell me I'm free to go. As another aside, I had no reason to believe he was going to try and hurt me or anything. I don't believe I was in danger, but he clearly was. If I felt I was in danger, I would not have left the sidewalk. I get back in the car, and I try to find some wet wipes to wipe down my hands when I realize, wait a minute, they're completely clean. Then it hits me. His hands weren't grimy. They were purple, blue in the dark, and clammy. His hands weren't getting any circulation, and they were swollen because of it. He wasn't dirty, he was gray and desaturated because he wasn't getting blood circulation. Was cardiac arrest. This man may have been actually having a heart attack. Of course, I don't know for sure, but the symptoms seem consistent. After that mental crisis, realizing that, oh fuck, I might have been the only reason that guy is getting help, and he probably would have died if I wasn't there, I make one more delivery because Ain't No Rest for the Wicked started playing on my playlist on cue. And I can't just let that slip by. I get back to the pizza place and tell my coworkers about what just happened, and I found out the most wild part. According to the person that took the order, he didn't order pizza, his friend did out of the blue for him. I don't know if it was a spur-of-the-moment thing, or if it was a very strange wellness check. So yeah, I have a job interview next week for an IT position for a nearby city. If I get that job, I'm not sure if I should believe in fate or something. I've been having such a hard time using my CS degree to get a job, and if I get one right after doing that, I feel as though I was meant to flounder around in this pizza place for a while to help this guy out. Anyway, glad to be part of the Crazy Delivery Stories gang. Do I get a 20% off on pizza here? The dude apparently got released from the ER and called our pizza place mad that he never got his pizza. Because that's the only way this could have ended. 5. This happened about 10 years ago when I was working at a pizza restaurant as a waiter. I'll not mention the name, but it is very popular in the US. This was in a small southern town, and one of the versions of this restaurant that had a substantial dining room for a pizza place. Generally, I went out of my way to find my customers the best deals on their pizzas. I didn't believe in running up a huge bill to try and milk a higher percentage. But one day this changed. I was waiting tables per usual, and the customer came in with a very rude attitude. I'll call him Rudy. Among other things, he insisted I hurry up as soon as he ordered his drink and questioned why I, a male in my early 20s at the time, was a waiter, since waiting tables is a job for high school girls. To his credit, this small town didn't have many sit-down restaurants. The majority of servers in the town are women and high school girls. I took this particularly personally, since I had worked hard for this job and I was darn good at it. It came time for Rudy to order his pizza. He wanted to order a medium hand-tossed with everything. Now, I knew what Rudy meant. People had, and I presume still have, various terms they use for specialty pizzas. When someone said everything or combination or some variation, they meant a supreme pizza, pepperoni, sausage, beef, mushrooms, peppers, and onions. Every other time I would seek clarity and ask if they meant our supreme pizza. But not this time. This time I thought it was time for some malicious compliance. Here's how it went. You want one medium hand-tossed pizza with everything on it. Is that correct, sir?
That stutter? It's not a hard order. Yes, I want a medium hand-tossed with everything. Think you can handle that?
Of course, sir. I will have that right out for you. What Rudy didn't realize was supreme pizzas did not have everything, not by half. In reality, we had almost 24 different toppings at this place. It's been a while, but off the top of my head I remember sausage, Italian sausage, pepperoni, bacon, Canadian bacon, chicken bell peppers, banana peppers, jalapeno peppers, mushrooms, onions, black olives, green olives, pineapple, tomatoes, and anchovies. So I went to the computer and began building one medium pizza with everything. I also made it a point to start from a blank base and not build from a supreme reconfiguration, just for a little added maliciousness in my malicious compliance. Once I was done inputting this monstrosity, my shift lead noticed the ticket and came back to me and asked, OP, what in the world is this? The customer asked for a pizza with everything on it, shift leader. You know, he probably meant a supreme, right? I double-checked and verified, shift leader. He told me multiple times he wanted a medium hand-tossed pizza with everything. Seemingly satisfied with this answer, my shift lead went back to the cooks and told them to make it. This thing turned out gross. It was so piled on with toppings the cooks literally had to press it down, because there were so many toppings. The standard amount of cheese did nothing to cover them like a traditional pizza would. It was effectively just a hot pile of meat and vegetables when it got out of the oven. Once it was out, I put on my best professional smile and delivered the pizza to the table. I had to use 2 hands, so it was heavy. When he looked at his pizza, he did not have the volatile reaction I expected. It was more a mix of confusion, disappointment, and bewilderment, and then stern rejection.
What is this, OP?
Your pizza, sir. You asked for a pizza with everything on it.
That's not what I wanted. I wanted a supreme.
Sir, that's not what you asked for. You asked for a pizza with everything on it. At this time, I honestly expected him to fight me and demand a manager. But, seemingly realizing I had given him exactly what he asked for, he just sort of begrudgingly accepted it. I asked him if I could get him anything else, and he said no. I left and kept an eye on him. He poked around at his slice for a few minutes, but obviously found it unappetizing. The best part was when I got to bring him his ticket. With each of those toppings rang in individually, Rudy ended up being charged $45 for one medium pizza with everything. I was like the cat that ate the canary for the rest of my shift. Fallout? I had to disappoint anybody who may be wanting a huge fallout, but the man had effectively resigned himself to his fate. He paid the bill without incident, though he did stiff me on the tip, as I had expected. I never saw the man again. I later told my shift lead the full story. They laughed and acknowledged the guy deserved it, but told me not to make a habit of that, to which I agreed. Hope you enjoyed. Hey everybody, Hellfreezer here, and thank you very much for listening to Parables from the Pizza Oven, Episode 9. And thank you very much to everybody who allowed me to use their stories in this video. Please pop a like before you go, I'd appreciate it. Alright, I don't think we have any other business today. No, we do not. No little notes there or anything. No, we're all good. Okay, so let's move right along to Hellfreezer's question of the day. And today's question is, in your opinion, is a sweet pizza actually a pizza, or is it some sort of dessert pastry? I say it's more of a dessert pastry, or a biscuit or a cookie, depending on what your base is, but I don't think it qualifies as a pizza. Please leave your answers in a comment below. And with that, I'm going to head off for now. So until next time, thank you very much for listening, and take very good care of yourself.